The last patch of 2023 is here and it's a big one. Lots of cool cosmetic additions, a deck builder, all fun stuff. But let's get down to the card changes. America Chavez might as well be a brand new card. I mean, she goes from 6-9, starts on the bottom of your deck, draw on turn 6, to 2-3. On reveal, the top card of your deck gets +2. This is a huge hit to the combo-centric decks that use Chavez as a method of deck thinning, which Second Dinner say is overestimated, that effect. Anyway, I tend to believe that, but I think it's pretty cool. You know, it frees up that 12th spot in a lot of decks for more variants. The dependable discard archetype probably gets the most affected by this because that deck actually uses Chavez for both deck thinning and as a last turn 9 power draw. Her new ability, pretty simple, right? Great as a Series 1 card for new players. Technically 5 power for 2 costs, so that's pretty decent stats. The purple fart cloud that everybody hates is back on the nerfing board. Goes from a 6-3 on reveal, destroy all enemy cards played here on this turn, including unrevealed cards, to 6-2 on reveal, destroy all unrevealed enemy cards here. Okay, so not only did they strip Alive of 1 power, now you have to have the initiative to enable the Alive play, because he will only destroy unrevealed cards in that lane. If your opponent's cards flip up first, Alive ain't gonna destroy anything. Now, interestingly, they removed the play this turn part, which also means Eliath now becomes a great counter card to the cards played under Invisible Woman.
Sweet Christmas.
Luke Cage goes from a 2-2 ongoing, your cards can't have their power reduced, to 2-3 ongoing, your cards here can't have their power reduced. Alright, massive nerf to Luke Cage, as his ability now only works in one lane. He gets 1 power to compensate, but ultimately this is a huge buff for the power reduction archetype.
You don't have a choice.
Another low-cost tech card gets a nerf, though not as bad as Luke Cage. Shadow King goes from a 2-3 to a 2-2. His ability remains the same. His ability is still incredibly strong, so the 1 power isn't a huge deal. Yeah, you just watch. I'm gonna start losing games by 1 in Shadow King lanes now. Why y'all gotta do my girl Elsa dirty like this? Elsa Bloodstone goes from a 2-2. If you play another card to fill a location, give it +2 power, to 2-3. After you play a card that fills this location, give it +2 power. Okay, 3 things to note here. A, her +2 buff only applies to the lane she's in rather than all lanes, which is a huge nerf in my book. B, her trigger timing is now different. Previously, she would buff the card that fills out a lane before it flips and resolves. Now, her effect only takes place after a card flips and resolves, more like Angela, right? So for example, if you played Brood on Elsa, Brood will flip up first, resolve his ability, i.e. spawn 2 Broodlings. The Broodlings don't get any buff. Brood himself will get that +2 buff. Now, here's another example. If you play Spiderman on Elsa to fill out that lane, Spiderman will flip open, move to another location because of his ability, but not get the +2 buff because he's no longer filling that Elsa lane. And finally, number 3, Elsa gets 1 extra power to compensate. Yeah.
You're never going to win like that.
Kitty Pryde goes from a 1-0 to a 1-1. Ability remains the same. Well, I mean, they had to throw us a bone here after Elsa got nerfed hard, right? I mean, Elsa and Kitty Pryde go hand in hand.
Sure you're ready for that?
Black Knight's Ebony Blade gets a massive buff. It goes from 4-0 to a 4-0 ongoing, can't be destroyed, and its power can't be reduced. Wow, okay, so Black Knight, while pretty fun, hasn't really found a spot in the meta. Too many counters to the blade, right? So now Shang-Chi and Shadow King are no longer counters to your big-ass Ebony Blade. I mean, you could rogue it and then Shang-Chi or Shadow King it, but that's a lot of trouble. Ravonna Ren Slayer goes from a 2-1 to a 2-3. Ability remains the same. Now this is their bid to make her more meta relevant, because even though she was buffed recently, I mean, you still don't see too much of her. Now at 3 power, she brings more power to the table and fits nicely into Cerebro 3 decks, with Cerebro and Mystique benefiting from her ability. Okay, so who saw this one coming? Thanos' Mind Stone goes from a 1/1 on reveal, draw 2 stones from your deck, to 1/1 on reveal, draw 2 1-cost cards. Okay, this obviously sucks if you're trying to dig through your Thanos deck to get the stones out, but that's kind of mitigated by not including too many 1-drops in your Thanos deck, right? What's interesting is that Second Dinner mentioned that future effects involve players getting a random Infinity Stone, which sounds pretty darn cool. But of course, unless you got the Mind Stone. Well, now getting a Mind Stone has some usage outside of a Thanos deck. This actually makes me kind of excited to see what kind of effects are in the pipeline that give Infinity Stones. Locations, maybe?
I like to move it, move it.
Okay, the next bunch of changes affect move cards, because, okay, you know how by default destroy and bounce abilities do not affect unrevealed cards, right? Well, they're applying that same logic, standardizing it to move as well. So move only affects revealed cards unless a card explicitly says so. So this affects Spiderman, whose stats and text remain the same, but will no longer move unrevealed cards. Also, Stegron, who actually gets a 1 power buff, he's now a 4/6, but also will no longer move unrevealed cards. Juggernaut though is the exact same card as before, but because of the aforementioned standardization of move, his ability now explicitly says that you can move unrevealed cards. Arrow goes from a 5/8 on reveal, move the last enemy card played this turn to this location, to 5/9 on reveal, move the last enemy card played anywhere to this location. Okay, so Arrow's been reworked, right? 1 extra power, won't move anything unrevealed, but she can move a card that was played in the previous turn, as long as it was the opponent's last played card and it is revealed. Okay, this one's more of a bug fix. Phoenix Force doesn't change, but now when you make a copy of a card merged with Phoenix Force, both the original and the copy can move. For example, if you play Phoenix Force on Sinister London and revive a multiple man, well, that's a lot of copies moving around. Woo, that's a big one. Let me know what you think of these changes and how they affect your deck.